What's up, Dominators? Welcome back to the ShiHai's channel, and today I present to you my Highlander deck recipe. So yes, this is really special because I actually ditched my Bermuda Melody deck to actually play Highlander, because I think Highlander is just one of the most fun deck I ever played compared to like decks such as like Tachikaze or Nova Grapplers that I'm currently playing right now. But Highlander is really a deck that I feel that if you really can high roll or can really have that luck, you are already winning the game as a whole, especially when you start first and you get into the grade 4, right, which feels so great, and you pull off the combos and all that. That what makes Highlander really interesting to play. So we're going to go through the deck and what I run inside. I feel that a lot of people have been going through the meta train or been like, oh yes, Bermuda Melody deck, oh whoa, Sonata Carol, so strong. But yes, I have to admit, it is the strongest deck in the meta currently. However, it is just so boring, so I decided to ditch the deck, sell it away, and instead build the Highlander slash Melody deck in order to have more fun with the game. So here we have our imaginary gifts, so we're gonna get through it later. But for now, we're just gonna take a look at the deck and see what I run. So first, we obviously have the starter right here. This is a bit of a reflection, but yes, basically we have the starter on right draw 1. I don't think I have to really explain that to you. Moving on to the grade 4, so we run a variety of grade 4s in this deck. So yes, this deck is pretty interesting because I do only run 2 duplicates in this deck, which is consists one of the grade 4 Anizuka right here. So this grade 4 skill is basically when placed, you may check the top 10 cards of your deck. If they are all different normal units, you gain an imaginary gift, force, excel, and protect. So what does this mean is on right, you actually gain the additional force marker, and then after that, if you check top 10 normal different units, the default different normal units, you gain an additional force, excel, protect. So it's 4 gifts in one, right, which is really unique, and I really like the mechanic of getting the force, excel, protect. This is one of the reasons why you can see that my imaginary gift zone is actually really spread out. We got force, excel, and protects. So all these markers do aid in getting the deck functioning and making my deck look really bling, as you can see right here. Most of them, all of them are actually signed. But other than that, this card is really fun to play around, and this is one of the reasons why I actually play Highlander as well. Moving on to the next grade 4, I actually play the Restanding Vanguard. Basically, on place you check the top 10. If they are all different normal units, during the first battle that this unit attacked, you may stand it. So basically, it's a free 4 drive checks and free Restanding Vanguard per se for free. Take note that all the grade 4s shown here are actually 14k bases and do have an imaginary gift force. That's what makes it so strong. Last but not least, one Laura, if I'm not wrong. Basically, this is really nice SP. We call it Ara Oni-san because for reasons I think most of my subscribers would know. But basically, the art looks really nice, and her skill is on place. You check the top 10 cards of your deck. If they're all different normal units, you may superior call any amount of them, and they all gain 10k until end of the turn. So it's really good. Ideally, you want to go, if you want to farm hand size, you would want to go into her as your first grade 4, right? But if you really would want to just have that fun force, excel, protect, you may go into Anezuka, if I'm not wrong, that's her name. This Laura is more of the end game where you're trying to end your opponent at 5 damage, then you would likely go into her. Combo with Anizuka where your whole field gains 10k with an Excel on board. It's actually really lethal. Alright, so that's all for the grade 4 counts. I only run 4 grade 4s, which is pretty interesting. Moving on to the grade 3. So yes, the grade 3 count are actually quite low, but I don't find myself misgrading most of the time because I actually do draw into the grade 3s. I only run 6 grade 3s right there. So obviously one of each of the melody grade 3s. We got one Sonata, SP art right here. One Carol, SVR. One Serena. One Fina, and one Canon. And last but not least, we got one of the child deck grade 3s. So one of the best rights you can obviously have as a first grade 3 right is obviously the Sonata or the child deck grade 3 because they both net you pluses. Carol is not really good for first rights, but like it enables all the melody to boost if you have those units in hand. Because I don't run additional Carol, so even if you write into her as a first grade 3, you're unable to soul blast 2 and search another copy of her. A lot of my friends has been asking me, oh yeah, you can actually run two carols instead, so you can bump up your grade 3 in case you run into her. But the likelihood of you checking into a duplicate of her with the grade 4 increases, in which I don't really like it, so I just choose to keep it at a 4 off. 1 off, sorry. Moving on to Serena, pretty good. If you have 4 card less hand size, on hit you draw a card up to until you have 4 cards in your hand, if I'm not wrong. So it's, there's not. For each melody in your board, you draw a card until you have 4. So basically, it helps you net back your hand if you really need it. Fina for Interceptor, really good tanky interceptors. All your grade 3s with melody, which is basically this 4 or gain intercept and plus tanky shield. Canon, pretty good first ride as well, actually. Because you get soul charge at the same time, you may activate the Musashi skill, which your opponent has to throw 2 or more cards into the guardian circle every time they want to guard. So most of the time your opponents will no guard your attacks when you activate her skill. So getting her as a first grade 3 ride is actually pretty decent as well. So that's all for the grade 3s. We're gonna filter it a little bit here to show you deck composition. Okay, so because this deck composition running a lot of cards that consist of one-offs in the deck, so that you would ideally want to hit the grade 3s, grade 4 abilities more often. Okay, moving on to the grade 2s right here. So as I said, I only run 2 duplicates in this deck. So the 2 duplicates actually consist of 2 Lysiloids and 2 Anezukas. So yes, Lysiloid skill is just too strong to be not run as a 2 off, or maybe even more, but in Highlander, obviously one run at most 2 off of every card in order for your grade 4 abilities to activate. Basically, first skill is regarded as a grade 1 in your hand. You may call it as a grade 1, but when it enter the field, it's a grade 2. Then on plays, once per turn, you only can use the ability once per turn. It's like Nimane, basically. You may look at the top deck of your top card of your deck, and then you may either soul charge it, or you may superior call it to the rear guard circle. So it basically +1 for your field. So I think 2 off is a really necessary must, because it's just such a good unit not to run. Moving on to the grade 2, basically this grade 2 is pretty good whenever your opponent were to guard with 2 cards on the guardian circle. This unit gains 15k, ties in really well with Canon, but at the same time, with your great force on board, most of the time with really high power attacks, with you gaining so many imaginary gifts of force, it really allows your opponent to throw more than 2 cards from their hand to guard, especially when your attacks are going for like around 30k. Not as high as Melody, which is about 50 to 60k, maybe even 70, but at the same time, whenever your opponent throws 2 guardians during your turn with 2 guard, this unit gets 15k, so it's really good to pressure your opponent as well. Free 25k attacker, why not? So we run one of the 10k vanillas. I have another one right here. It's just a different name. Make sure it's in different names, because you would want your great force to be active at all times. This card is really good at the late game when you actually ride into Laura, or you ride into the Restanding Vanguard. It's really good. Basically, the skill is when attack, you may count +1. You copy the your Vanguard's power for the battle. So basically what it means, if you have 2 forces under your grade 4 Vanguard, your Vanguard's at 34k power during your turn, and when this unit attacks, you may count +1, it copies the 34k power, so it basically gains 24k power. Really good at pushing your opponent. That's one of the reasons why I run 1 off. Hopefully you guys can see the cards right here. Let's push it a little bit more so that you guys can see what the deck composition really looks like. Okay, hopefully you guys can see. Moving on to this grade 2, it's pretty interesting. I run it because it gains that 5k shield and boost. Skill is continuous. If you have a grade 3 unit in the same column as this unit gains boost and can intercept from the back row. So it's basically a free 5k interceptor if you want to move it to the back row. And ideally you want to call any of these grade 3s of the melody in order to, poke your opponent. At the same time, this unit gains boost, so it's a free 10k booster, so why not? This unit, Brume, if I'm not wrong, basically it's pretty good. Continuous regard during your opponent's turn only. This unit gains 5k, so it's a 15k continuous. And then on hit, regard circle count +1, draw a card. Why not? It's a free plus for you. This unit is basically the same not the same, but basically it ties in well with Highlander because when it attacks, if all the units on your Vanguard and Rearguard Circle are all different names, which is mostly all, should be all different, this unit gets 5k, so it's why not a 15k attacker. 12k vanilla, best second right, I would say, is legit the best second right. Good against rushes and denies your opponent really well. If you check a trigger, so you have 22k base on the grade 2, why not? Sadly, obviously doesn't have the shield value. Trial that card, really good. On place, Count Blast plus 1, this unit gains 5k. And then if you caught a Rearguard during your turn, this, you may draw one, so it's basically a net 1. It's a 9k base, take note, but obviously when you use the skill, it's a 14k base stick, so why not? Yeah, it usually helps you net back the card that you called, that you called her on. So last grade 2 we run in the deck is basically this grade 2. You wouldn't want to use soul at all in this deck because I find myself having a shit ton of soul, so whenever you use her, whenever you ride or you call her onto the Rearguard Circle, you ideally want to use the 1 per turn skill. So plus 1, this unit gains 5k, and then you may count plus 1, and if this unit is on Rearguard Circle, sorry, you may count plus 1 and give your Vanguard plus 5k as well. So this deck doesn't really use that much count blast as well because most of the cards are on place, then the abilities will activate. But if you do have that spare counter blast and soul, which most of the time you would have, you ideally want to activate a skill at all times during your turn. So that's all for the grade 2s. So the grade 2s I run quite a variety. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 grade 2s. If not wrong, I run 11 grade 1, 11 or 12 grade 1s. So moving on to the grade 1s, we have Seal as the VR. I'm pretty sure you would want to run this in any deck, whether be it Melody or Highlander. First skill is continuous. All the unit in the same column as this unit is unable to be attacked, so it's really good if you want to protect some of the units in this column. Then skill on play, so plus 1, you review up to 1 grade 3. I don't think it has to review a melody, but we review up to 1 grade 3, so you can review up to the 6 grade 3s you have right here. So look at the top 7 cards of your deck and then review 1 melody and add it to your hand. So it helps to filter out for the Sonata even though you don't have her in your hand. So let's just say if your starting opening hand has any one of these 4 and you want to filter out for Sonata, you may use Seal to help you do it. So that's one of the reasons why. Shit, I don't remember her name. But basically her skill is pretty good in Highlander as well. Vanguard Rearguard skill, when it attacks, so when it's attacking, not boosting, attacking only, it gains 2k, so it's a 10k beat stick. And then when your Vanguard attack hits an opponent Vanguard, you may bounce this back from the Rearguard Circle back to your hand. So it's a free 10k shield. Backs, good for early game rushes, really good. Trial deck, on play Soul Blast 2, you've got 5 units, specifically 5 units. You may draw, choose 2 units plus 5, choose 2 units other than her plus 5, and then draw a card. As I said, you don't use that much soul in this deck, so obviously you will want to run her, even though it's a 7k base, but it helps you draw the card and plus choose 2 units plus 5k, which helps to make magic numbers at times. I can't really get any more space, I'm just gonna put the cards over some other cards. This grade 1, which comes from the trial deck as well, on base, choose one of your units against 5k, other units against 5k, so why not? It's a good card to play with, helps make magic numbers as well. Okay, this grade 1 in which I tagged in, the skill is pretty interesting. Whenever during your turn you place the rearguard, this unit gains 2k, if not wrong, is it? And then yeah, continuous, if you have 5 rearguards or more, is it 5 rearguards only? Forgot, I have to check the skill up again, but basically if you've got 5 rearguards or 5 rearguards or more, this unit gains 5k, so it's basically a free booster, 13k booster. One of the reasons why I run her as well. Basically this unit is skill is pretty unique. If you've got no other units in the same column as this unit cannot be targeted. Yeah, but it still can be retired by attacks, but cannot be targeted and cannot be affected by your opponent's card effects, so no retiring basically. It's pretty good for, you know, if you want to early game rush and beat down with a force marker on it with no units boosting it as well, so that it can be retired. This card is basically the same as this grade 2 card. Where is it? Right here. Yeah, it's the same as this, but instead of getting 15k, this unit gets 10k. So whenever your opponent were to throw 2 guns or more during your turn, when you attack, this unit gets plus 10, so it's a free 18k booster or attacker. The trial deck, best first ride if you are riding from starting hand as opening of her. It's a really good ride. Once button Vanguard skill, you may on place draw one drop one. This unit ability is once button. It's basically same thing as main and this ride. This unit is almost the same as this grade 2 unit. If you have a grade 3 rear guard, you have grade 3 or greater rear guard. This unit gains intercept and can be intercepted from the back row. So it's pretty good, a free 10k shield. This unit, because you ideally want to shuffle your deck a lot because of the Highlander skill. Every time you check top 10, and then if it passes, you shuffle your deck. The unit skill is basically on rearguard skill. Whenever your deck is to be shuffled, this unit gains 5k. So ideally you want to call her out at a grade 3, and then when you run into a grade 4, she gains the 5k. And last but not least, the best grade 1, I think, in the deck to recycle your grade 3s at the same time nets you the cutback that you called her on. Not on place, after the battle that it boosts a Vanguard specifically, you may retire this unit, draw 1, and then if you have the cost count plus 1, you return 1 grade 3 from the drop zone back to the bottom of your deck, you draw an additional 1, so it's a free plus 1 for you for a count plus 1. But the bad thing is you obviously need to have a grade 3 in the drop zone. But in the early games, if you actually do discard the grade 3, if you have too many of them because you want to use this unit skill, it basically helps you plus 1 in a sense. So yes, it's really good to run. Last but not least, triggers. I've seen a lot of people run draw triggers, like 6 draws in Highlander deck. I don't feel the need because I would want more pressure, so I just run full on 8 crits, 4 draws, 4 heals. I don't see the need to actually run more than 4 draws. So just follow this deck recipe. I mean, you don't have to follow, I'm just telling you that this is my opinion on this deck. So yeah, I run 4 draws, 8 crits, and 4 heals to complete the deck, and that's basically about it for my Highlander. Hope you guys like it. I've probably just posted my Melody versus Shadow Paladin deck, in which some viewer requested for it, so hope you guys like it. I'll probably post a deck fight after this, Highlander versus Shadow Paladin, in which the video I did with Mythical King as well. So keep a lookout for that. But for now, thank you very much for watching. This is ShiHai, and I'm out. Peace.